Hello everyone, so let us talk about the biology half yearly examination class 7 paper. Let us start with MCQs. The microbe that helps in nitrogen fixation is Rhizobium. Which of these are unicellular eukaryotic organisms? All of them, yeast, euglena, amoeba, all of them are eukaryotic as well as unicellular. Which of the following is not a type of animal tissue? Epidermal tissue. This is a plant tissue. Another name for packing tissue is, which one is this? Areolar tissue, yes. Adipose tissue is the padding tissue. Areolar tissue is the packing tissue. The flowering plants are gymnosperms, angiosperms, both of the above, none of the above. It is both of the above. Both gymnosperms and angiosperms are flowering plants. 5 kingdom classification was given by Robert Whittaker. Non-green organisms growing in dark, damp and moist places belong to kingdom fungi. Rhizoids are found in mosses. Hydra belongs to which phylum? Cnidaria or Coelenterata. In gymnosperms, the gametes are found in cones. Cones are the reproductive organs of gymnosperms. Let us talk about the fill in the blanks now. Smooth muscles are also called as involuntary muscles. Dash is the the unstriated muscles as well. Dash is the meristematic tissue that helps to increase the length of the plants. It is the apical meristem. Apical meristem helps to increase the length of the plants. The animals of phylum Nematoda are called as roundworms. During unfavorable conditions, amoeba reproduces by multiple fission. Blood and lymph are called as fluid connective tissue. Name the following. The tissue that is present in the walls of the heart, cardiac tissue or cardiac muscle. The blood cell that helps in clotting of blood, platelets. The first seedless land plants, they are pteridophytes or ferns. The group of plants called as the amphibians of the plant kingdom, they are the bryophytes or the mosses. The animals that do not have a backbone are called as invertebrates. Explain the following briefly in one sentence. Amoeboid movement. It is a type of movement by an irregularly shaped cell in any direction. That is what amoeboid movement is all about. Or you can also write it as a movement which is done with the help of pseudopodia or false feet. That is also correct. Vascular tissue, the tissue which is responsible for the conduction of water, minerals or food is termed as a vascular tissue. It is a tissue which is responsible for the transportation of substances inside an organism or inside the plant, if you wish to write it that way. Saprophytes, organisms that derive their nutrition from dead and decaying organisms are called as saprophytes. Phanerogams are plants which bear flowers. Now these flowers, they are of different types, so they might not have, as in gymnosperms, they are basically cones, so they have an open a different reproductive organs, specific reproductive organs, the phanerogams. Or the seed plants, the plants that bear seeds. Taxonomy. Taxonomy is the branch of biology that deals with the classification and the naming of all organisms. Differentiate between the following. We are talking about one difference on the basis of xylem and phloem tissue. Function. So xylem is responsible for the conduction of water and minerals. Phloem tissue is responsible for the conduction of food inside the plant. Monocots and dicots on the basis of venation. Now monocots have parallel venation whereas dicots have reticulate venation. Gymnosperms and angiosperms. So gymnosperms have naked seeds whereas angiosperms have hidden seeds. The seeds are hidden inside the fruit, whereas in gymnosperms the seeds are open. Algae and fungi, mode of nutrition. So algae are mostly autotrophic, whereas fungi, they are saprophytic in nature. Apical and lateral meristem. So apical meristem location. Apical meristem is located in the tips of the root and the shoot, whereas the lateral meristem is located on the sides of the internodes. So that was that for the differences. Now let us move on to the location. Give the location of the following. Sclerenchyma. Where is sclerenchyma located? So there are many places in which sclerenchyma is located. Wherever you find something hard or something fibrous, there you can say that that is the location of sclerenchyma tissue. So it can be present in all the hard parts of the plant. Sclerenchyma tissue would be present. You can say it is present in the veins, as veins or the midrib of the leaves. Adipose tissue. Now adipose tissue is a tissue that is present around the blood vessels and also in between the various internal organs. Smooth muscles. Now smooth muscles are present in the organs which are involuntary, like the urinary bladder. So there, even inside the stomach, the smooth muscles would be present inside that. Intercalary meristem. It is present at the base of nodes. Because it is responsible for the lateral growth, or rather the growth of the internode as such, not the lateral growth as in the meaning where it is growing in thickness as such, but in branching and things like that. So intercalary meristem is present at the nodes, at the base of the nodes. Cartilage. Cartilage is present in our ear and at the tip of our noses. Now let us move on to section B. Give one example each of rod-shaped, circular-shaped, spiral-shaped bacteria. So you can name them. You have Bacillus and then Streptococci and so on. They are all given in your textbook. Give three characteristics of kingdom Protista. So kingdom Protista, they are unicellular organisms. One, second, they have a prokaryotic cell. And the third one, they are the most primitive of all organisms, or you can say that they reproduce by binary fission because they are mostly composed of bacteria. Explain in short how amoeba reproduces by binary fission with the help of the diagram. So diagram you draw and then you show how one cell of amoeba, the nucleus, it divides into two parts. Then the cell itself, it starts to cave in, the cell membrane starts to cave in and it divides into two. So one cell dividing into two daughter cells. First one nucleus dividing into two daughter nuclei, and then the cell divided, the cell material, the cytoplasm dividing, reorganizing itself around the two nuclei to give rise to, and then the two cells finally separating themselves from each other and thus giving rise to the two cells. Mention any three ways by which fungi harm us. So fungi are responsible for causing a lot of diseases in plants as well as in animals. Like athlete's foot is a very common disease in humans. Then rust, smut, they are plant diseases. Then you can add that fungi are also responsible for spoilage of food. So a lot of food you will find that in rainy season, when it is very moist and humid, a lot of the food spoils very fast, as you can see fungal growth on it. So there are many ways by which you can mention that fungi harm us. Mention any three ways in which bacteria are useful for us. So first and foremost, they are used in the production of many antibiotics. Then they are helpful in increasing the fertility of the soil, because we just talked about rhizobium bacteria, how they are able to convert the atmospheric nitrogen into nitrogenous compounds which serve as fertilizers and are helpful in increasing the soil fertility. Other than that, most of the bacteria are decomposers which help in the decomposition of dead and decaying organic matter and return the nutrients back to the environment. Then they are lactobacillus. It is many of the food products like curd, cheese and all, they are They are prepared because of the action of bacteria on them. So lots of uses for bacteria. Mention one similarity and one difference between Kingdom protista and Kingdom monera. So the similarity is that both of them are constituted of unicellular organisms, but Kingdom protista has organisms which have a prokaryotic cell, whereas Kingdom monera has organisms that have a eukaryotic cell. Mention any two characteristics of animals belonging to phylum Platyhelminthes. So they are called as flatworms. Their body is flattened, and they have only one opening in their body. Those are the two characteristics you can mention, or you can also mention that many of the organisms belonging to this phylum are parasitic in nature. Identify the phyla based on these characteristics. They have special excretory organs called nephridia. That is a total giveaway. Annelida, they have a thick exoskeleton made up of chitin, that is Arthropoda. Then they locomote with the help of tube feet, Echinodermata. Then give any three drawbacks of two kingdom classification. Now, two kingdom classification, all the organisms, many prokaryotic and eukaryotic organisms were grouped together. Then there was not a provision for understanding the evolutionary process of the organisms, and then there was a lot of grouping of organisms, dissimilar organisms based. It was a very superficial kind of a classification. So a lot of the classification was done only on superficial or the apparent features, which did not actually help in identifying and naming the individuals. So there are many more drawbacks, and you can just mention any three of them. Mention any four characteristics of Kingdom Plantae. First and foremost, they are multicellular organisms. They have, all of them are, or they have organisms with a cell wall is present in them. Then they are autotrophic, that means they can prepare their own food, and along with that they have a eukaryotic cell. Any of the characteristics of plant you can mention. So they are like, they constitute the basis, they are responsible for the production of food. They are autotrophs and things like that you can mention. They contain chlorophyll. Any of the characteristics you can mention. Identify the three tissues given over here. So we look at the three tissues that are given over here, and you can see that this is the striated tissue or the skeletal tissue. This is the smooth tissue or the involuntary muscle tissue, and this is the cardiac muscle tissue. So you just had to name these tissues A, B, C. Label the following parts of the tissue given below. So you can see it is a neuron, and you have to identify 1, 2, 3 and 5. So 1 is the dendrites, then 2 is the cyton or the cell body or soma, also it is called as. 3 is the axon, the stem-like structure, and 5 are the axon terminals. So this is the axon terminal. So these 4 parts you have to label. And the last question, you see a picture of an octopus. It is very easy to identify. Identify the phylum to which this animal belongs. You know it is Mollusca. Give any 2 characteristics of this phylum. So very one common characteristic is they all have a muscular foot, and the other characteristic is many organisms belonging to this phylum carry a hard outer shell covering. So that was that for class 7 half yearly exam biology solutions. I hope you were able to clarify your doubts with this solution video. Thank you so much for watching.